Hello and welcome to this Viper tutorial. Today we are going to look at the sum list example in the Viper demo. What this example will allow us to look at is the groups and cells principle. So first let's look at what it looks like when we open it. If I execute the program, this little window pops up. This is because it is a massive report system, which means you can select how many reports you want to print. So if I click on this option, you will see here I have one report created, which is 4 pages, and I can scrub through them with these buttons here. But if I wanted to change this to 100 and click the button again, you can see here 400 copies are created in under 10 seconds. Viper is an incredibly fast program which can generate many reports or invoices incredibly fast. So if I generated 100 in under 10 seconds, I could generate 1,000 or 2,000 in barely a minute, which is incredible compared to some other printing tools. But that's not all. If you look, if I zoom in here, if I open the Viper Frame Designer, which I will touch on more in another video, and maximize this here and take this here and run the program once more, you will notice that from the template to the actual report, there is a few differences. The header, the text fields and boxes are all the same, and if you look at the footer here and here, and they are the same, but those fields here, those cells, have been filled with data from my database. This is one very useful tool that Viper provides. So also, if I double click on one of the fields, you will see that it is auto resized in the vertical direction and auto wrapped, which makes it an intelligent cell management system. This is another key point of Viper. It's that it manages your data intelligently and organizes it according to the code you create, which I will show you in a minute. Also, if you modify the template, let's say I move this here, for example, and save it, and then run that program again, you will see that now the fields are one on top of each other instead of left and right. Now let's look at the code. I will keep the Viper Designer open, and normally I would click on this icon to launch the progress procedure editor, but because the Viper Designer is open, I cannot do that. So I will move this here, and I have my example stored here, and I will open it with the procedure editor from here. Okay, now let's look at this code. Here, those two lines here will just call in some basic Viper functions, which I will not go into detail at the moment. And this line here sets the number of time to print your report. So this P number here is the number that we entered in that little pop-up window when we launched the program. This run VPR load VFR command and this path here loads my sports VFR template, which is the one you can see here. So sports VFR as such. And since you can have more than one report in a VFR file, this VPR activate report activates the all item report which I have in my VFR file. This do statement here is a loop, and this P number again is the number you set when the pop-up windows come up. So let's look at what happens in this loop. First, it creates a header. Then it initializes the group body. So if we look at the designer, here first it initializes the header, this part here, and then the body is here, there. And then for each item, which means that for all the items present in the body, it will run the fill item procedure. Then it will check the space that there is available on the page against the height taken up by the group body, which is basically the texts and data that you are adding to your page. And then if the group height is bigger than the space on the page, it will create the footer, then create a new page, and then add the header again, and then restart the program once the flush group command has been executed. Since this part here creates the text and data and orders it, the flush group now displays it, and then it runs again. And once it has done this for all of the data, the show footer option just shows the last footer for the page. Then this VPR and doc tells Viper that you finished editing, and this shows the preview as I showed you when you click on the VMAS button. So those run commands here, for example this show header here or this fill item cells here, are predefined commands that we are going to look at now. So this show header is here. What it's actually doing is first creating header 1, then displaying header 1, then creating a rectangle, then initializing the header 2 or creating it, and then displaying the header 2. Then same thing for footer. It's not as necessary for footer, but it just helps to keep everything organized, to have these various different actions set into procedures that you call upon instead of having to create all of these each time. What it does is it initializes the footer 1 and then displays it. And the fill item cells, which we can see here, what it does is it looks at all the fields here, which if you look at the designer are the categories here, so num, item num, price, and all of that. Then here is the table name, the table field from your database, and the data type. And it will call all of this from your database, and each of these strings is for a different field. This is a lot faster than the older version, which was to call on every single one. And then this end procedure here ends this procedure as per the other one. Thank you very much for watching this Viper tutorial on cells and groups, or the sum list example, and we hope to see you in our next video.